Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're on practice for the Group 3 race, and we swapped out the twins. So Ryan's racing this in the Group 3 series. I just got off the track, and it was a very uneventful race. Winters, how was everything on your end?
Yeah, it was an exciting race. We went into a lot of detail about the track, what lines people are doing, analyze some of your lines too, and I think you did really well. You were quite consistent, like you said. You were sort of in your own space here, but the nice thing about being in that part of the grid is that you have a lot of time to sort of make up. And I know it's your first full race, so you're like building confidence, learning the car. And as you see, it's not easy to learn that car. Philo, we know, is always rapid. He wasn't able to do better than P3 there, so you know he's not the easiest cars to really extract maximum performance from.
No, not at all. I think, oh god, line analysis is bad. Oh, I bet I got roasted. It's tough though.
A lot of line analysis for Pato, but Pato, yes, you have the slowest lap, but also you're not consistent with this speed, so you finished out. Consistency is important. And there's also just learning little tricks, like one thing I was saying about your lines there is that you were braking maybe too hard, but when you were braking at maximum, you were turning already, when you don't really want to turn because you're already using like 100% braking. You need to calm down out of steering angle, and you will not settle the car, you'll start sliding, and this game doesn't raise the handles too much. So doing that, and then there's a little trick which I think maybe you don't know. Like it's sort of I say it's a secret, and I don't like sharing it in a way because I don't want the other drivers to know about it. But when you look at the brake bar and you see the red portion, which is oh, hang on, they say they can't hear me. I'm just gonna maybe turn myself up.
Yeah, I have you up very loud on my end, and it should be going
okay,
through.
I can turn myself up louder on mine.
Let me see here.
If people in chat can give me some feedback.
Would always be good. Well, let's see here.
Oh, is it the music's on? Oh, it's because the music's still playing.
Oh, that might do it.
Would you mind also sharing your screen in the Discord channel? Just because otherwise I hear an echo with the voice.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Where's that screen? There it is. OBS.
Perfect. That's really helpful.
I think this is the first stream where we're swapping off between the PlayStation streaming and then here, so appreciate everyone. Make sure that we can hear you correctly. What I'm going to do, I'm going to delete all those filters. So let me check your properties. And we're
sure, and I've turned everything up on my end, but people let me know if it's too loud or it's added too much gain. But it might just be the music.
Yeah, I just muted the music, so...
Okay. Hopefully it's a bit better now. We see my teammate off in the barrier there.
Off in the wall.
I told him, I gave him a pep talk before the race. I just say don't do that, but...
Can I lower the vehicle sounds? I can do that for sure. And I'm going to...
Yeah, the vehicle sounds are quite loud.
Excellent.
Turn it down. Okay, now I'm being told off. Okay. 1 second, I'll turn it down. We're professionals, I swear. Okay, how about... There we go, I'm not clipping. That should be okay. Do let me know, easy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Good thing we're doing all this in practice, right?
I'm gonna have to screenshot these settings. Oh, there you go, perfect, he says. So we're gonna have to screenshot these settings, I think, and I can replicate them every time.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, and I'm actually going to rename this as Winter.
Okay, perfect.
And then when Ryan comes back in, I can just make another one and change them. So excellent, wonderful. So yeah, no, I think that's one of the things I noticed about my driving. I try to start trail braking maybe a bit too soon. So like you said, I'm already using 100% of the grip available via braking. Turning is not going to help me at all. It's going to hinder my braking, and I'm not turning well at all anyway.
Yeah, and it does several things. So one thing, it means you're turning in way too early. So by the time you get to the apex, you're so narrow you can't carry enough speed through it, and then you're limited. Really, you're going to run a bit. You're going to have to overslow so you don't run wide on the exit, and then you're limiting your exit speed. So, and you're not doing it egregiously. It's just, you know, everyone in here is so quick. We're really talking about fractions of seconds. We're talking about tenths here. So you know, what I would say is, you know, you brake in the straight line. When you come off the brake, do your turn in there. And one thing you should, and for knowing when to come off the brake, what I noticed, you were coming off the brake too late, too slow. So
Okay.
you were hard on the brake, which a lot of these corners you go 100%. Hard on the brake, you come off the brake, and here's the little cheat. Maybe if you go in the game here and you can turn on the overlay so we can see all the the throttle and brake things. And one thing to look out for is on the brakes, you see the red bar, right, which is how much ABS is being triggered.
Right.
Now, when you go into the corner, you go into a heavy brake. So Arctic here will do like 30-40% probably braking. Oh no, he did more. So you see he did too much, and you saw there was a huge red bar.
Right.
If that red bar is over about 20%, you're not optimal. You need it to stay no bigger than about 20%. So when you were doing it, I remember the last corner, you went 100% braking. You came off the braking too slow, and it was about 50% ABS. And that's just locking up. You're just locking up at that point. You can't turn the fronts. You can't get turn in. You're overslowing. So you see there, that was pretty good on the last corner from Arctic. The problem is about this is us in VR. So Moose, myself, Tony, Marino, we can't see that bar. So it can be really hard for us learning the track to know, are we braking too much? Are we braking not enough?
It's got to be all by feel at that point, right?
It is, and again, that's kind of hard. I turn up the sound of the tires so you hear them squealing, because when it goes over about 20%, that's when they squeal. You know, you get a bit of the screeching when the ABS is on, but they squeal when you go beyond that. But again, you're reacting too slow to that. So if you want to learn the track, you want to learn rather so you can preempt it. Because no one's reactions are quick enough to react to, you know, the ABS going more than 20%. It's too late at that point.
Right.
You have to do it preemptively in the learning phase. So,
okay. That's also awesome. Good, you know, feedback, and I think it's good. Pato even saying fractions of a second is not me being 5 seconds off pace, but it's amazing because when earlier in the race when I was, I don't even want to say fighting, but I was driving along with Dopes and the one of the newcomers, I forget his name.
Ersto.
Yes, Ersto.
Yeah.
And at first I was keeping up a little bit, right? And then as the laps went on, it's like, okay, I'm losing a little bit of time there, But I was losing like time and a half that, or I was gaining time and a half that to Paddle and Crispy fighting behind me. And
yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of like, you know, pace difference and everything else. But those little things do make a difference. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's definitely stuff to learn and remember for next time.
Exactly. And in a way, they're easy things to fix. Sure, it's going to feel weird at first because I just noticed, you know, every driver's used to doing certain things. For example, in Barcelona last week, even though I did well, I was taking too much speed into the corner. I was having too much steering angle, and that's why my fronts wore so much quicker than Moose in the same car, and 3 laps quicker than Tony. And if you look at them, their front rear balance on tire wear was a lot closer than mine. I had a much larger delta. I was really burning through that front left.
Right.
And that's partly set up. They're running lower rear wing. I'm using max rear wing. For me, I don't know. It's definitely one way to induce more rotation. But you know, also it can mask maybe my driving deficiency and something I need to work on it. I can try and fix that through setup, but I'm more masking it, you know?
That makes sense.
And I think Moose has gone off there.
Yeah, Moose is nowhere to be seen on the cinematic camera. But I know they are just waiting for practice to end and qualifying to begin as we see someone else going off.
So the lobby's been open about 15 minutes, right? And it looks like Philo's fastest lap is... do you know what car Philo's in? I'm not too sure.
Philo, let's see.
He might be in the GTR, actually.
Is he in the pits?
I know in his series he races the GTR, but the 2013 version.
Yeah, it looks like he's in the GTR. Right? Yeah, that looks like a GTR to me.
Is it? Yeah, that's the GTR Dash, isn't it? Okay,
yeah.
So Philo's... Is he in the 13 or the 18, though?
Let's see. What's the Moose in?
Moose is in the 18.
Yeah, they look... I mean, the interiors may be identical, though. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
we have a meeting of the cars at turn 1. Oh, geez. While we're all waiting for qualifying to start. So, yeah, exciting race last race. It looked like the pack up front was having quite the run. Do you think we'll see something similar here with the Group 3 cars?
We're going to have to see how it goes in qualifying. In qualifying for the last race, we saw there was a pack of 4 up front, and there was a pack of 4 after them. And the pack of 4 after, they were within 1/10 of a second. The pack of 4 up front, they were within about a third of a second, so 3/10. So, and it's really at that point down to who makes the most mistakes, who's the most consistent. We saw some people were fast, but not as consistent as others. So it's really down to who keeps their focus. And also who keeps their cool. You know, Marino had a few laps there that weren't great for him. He lost 2 positions, and after that he had an off. And you know, maybe there's something to be said of just getting on with it, putting everything out of your mind when something bad happens, not to let it affect you. And that's a real skill with these longer races.
Absolutely, yeah, quite a bit. And I'm sure, especially when you're actually running with a few other people on track. I know for me, I was upset with qualifying, and I thought, you know, I just blew it. Turned out to not be the end of the world. You know, for me, obviously, it's like you said earlier, with the pace of the grid now, it's like when 90% of the grid is faster than you, yeah, I was going to end up being, you know, if I got P10, that would have been good for me.
Yeah, you did well. And the other thing is, like I was saying before, it's just you got to show up. You know, if you don't show up, you don't get better. You also, you know, you don't have people watching you. You don't have people seeing what you're doing, where you can improve. And you know, I think you could easily cut a second or 2 off, and it would take probably not a lot of practice. It's just a different approach and getting used to that approach. Because like we said with Pato before, it's well and good doing all this practice. If you're practicing the wrong things, you're just ingraining them. They become muscle memory. You're going to find it really hard not to turn in too early, not to brake too hard and then come off the brakes too slow. You know, you're going to find that those things hard. But you know, which is why I think for me it's helpful having little indicators, like knowing you can look at the brake bar, even if it's when you're watching a replay. But yeah, just these little things, they're helpful, and before you know it, you're gaining time.
I agree. And it's funny how even just this morning I did quite a few laps and was able to bring probably I gained about a second, which is nice.
Yeah.
But these guys are going to be gaining even more than a second now that we're in the Group 3 series, and looks like we're already fighting.
They are, and if I was these guys, I would have been, during that practice session, I would have been spectating Philo and seeing how he puts the quick lap in, or spectating one of the faster guys. Even I do it. Last race, I was there spectating Moose. I was seeing what's he doing different to me, where he's gaining these tenths. And then I go out on track, I try to put them into effect, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Ardic's also a great one to watch for that, especially in the other series.
Oh, yeah.
But these cars are interesting. All these cars are very different. We saw Ersto there in the Corvette, I believe. I don't think that car is competitive, so we'll see how he does. He was very close with Delps in the last race. You know these Renaults can be rapid. I think Delps is in the Renault, is he not?
Delps is in the Porsche.
Oh, he's in the Porsche.
Team French Revolution, Specs and Arctic.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, you're right. So we'll see if they're close again.
And we do see some times coming up. Ersto, like you said, in the Corvette, may not be the most competitive, but he puts up a 133, couple of seconds off pace of the other guys, fast drivers. But it's nice to see a different car on track. I'll give him that. Flipper a 144, not competitive at that point, but we'll see what happens.
We have Arctic with a 31 flat. We had in practice the best time was somewhere in the 30s from Philo. I don't see Philo on track though. No one's in the pits, so everyone is on track. Maybe he might have left late, because in the last race he got a lot of traffic, and he went off the track and spun because of it. And so he's probably trying to avoid the traffic, because as people probably know, the sooner you load in the lobby, the further up your grid spot is in the pits.
Yeah, the easier it is to get out, right?
Box. Yeah, so if you load in late, you get unlucky. Maybe you're someone like Specs who has internet problems. You're always going to be having to manage space.
Yeah, I do wonder. I do wonder what Philo would be doing here. I mean, someone who's absolutely rapid. No, I think in the Group 3 cars especially, it's nice to see the faster drivers here able to keep up, and he just puts up a 2-minute change. I don't know where he's at.
So Philo's put in a 2-minute lap time.
Oh, there we go.
That seems very odd because maybe he's just really heating the tires, because if he did that slower lap, his tires might be quite cold, but we'll see. He's in the 2018, so he's in the faster one. I believe he was spending time there because he messaged me. I believe he was making a setup because he didn't have a setup for this track.
I see. I see.
In the car. So, and he's probably running, I'd imagine he's running max downforce on the rear. I would think he's going to be slower than Moose on the main straight and the second straightaway, but he might be quicker in the second sector, and I know he firmly believes max front and rear downforce generally is the quickest. Not always, but and that's the difference Tony and Moose have. Tony and Moose, they run lower rear wing, and that helps the car rotate more, but you know, maybe Philo's better at rotating the car on the brakes. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be the driving style difference, right? And as we see, he's putting up a purple sector there.
Yep. And I think that sector's where Philo's going to be the fastest, got more downforce here. Tony's actually getting his slipstream here. Tony could actually, this could give Tony a pole lap, you never know. I'm not sure what lap times Tony's doing.
Let's see here. Tony, if we jump on board, 131.3 is his fastest. Let's put him up to third position. Actually, he took.
Well, that's Philo with the 30.1, I believe. Was Arctic around the 31.1 or so.
Moose and Tony are awfully close.
Moose is 31.3, 31.2. I don't know if that's a plateau time for him, if he's doing pretty much the same time 2 laps apart, but that's a second off pace there. And I have to say, Philo told me what lap time he could do.
I think I just lost you for some reason in my headphones. Just give me just a moment.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Should be able to hear me. Okay, perfect. Yeah, but we'll have to see. I mean, this might be one of those races where, like the previous season, Philo shows up and does 25, 30 seconds ahead, but clearly this is where he shines. GT3 cars where tuning's allowed. We know he's as much an engineer as a racer, and he wasn't able to get used to he told me he found the GR86 hard because there was no tire and fuel wear, and he's not used to it.
Yeah, well, that's interesting that he found it harder to get used to without tire and fuel wear. I guess when you're racing he's been, you've known him for a while. I suppose when you're racing for this long and you've played this game for expecting that wear, that maybe it's different. You expect to drive differently or expect different handling from the car as you go on, but without that wear, it just drives consistently the same every single time.
Yeah, I mean, he said to me that the reason he's actually doing the 86 is just to get practice with no fuel and tire wear. He said I don't know quite what he means, but he says he doesn't have the patience for no wear. I'm not so sure I know how to explain that, but I don't know if it's because he's pushing it too much, slipping too much. I don't know.
Right. That's.
I know he's very aggressive on the brakes. I know that. And in his tuning setups, they reflect that.
It'll be interesting to see time-wise where these guys end up. Notably, I mean, Arctic being relatively close to Philo right now. Arctic's on fire today. It seems between last race, it looked like he just commanded first place, and now he looks like he's gonna be running right up there with Philo.
Yeah, Arctic had one of his classic races where he just runs away at the front. Got someone in the barriers there. I think it's my teammate. I'm not too sure.
Let's
but maybe his wheel disconnected again.
Oh yeah, he was having issues.
Philo got a bit squirrely there.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, we were saying before in the last in the last race, and for anyone new joining, it's a really interesting track here because you can really lose a lot of time on that back straight going up the hill. You get the last corner slightly wrong, you miss the apex, you run a bit wide, you're losing tenths and tenths and tenths the whole way up the hill. You can lose 0.3 to half a second there quite easily. And same in that first corner. You don't get the first corner right, you don't take that sharp enough, you don't cut the second curb enough and try and keep as flat as you can, you're losing a lot of time down the whole straight.
That first turn is absolutely brutal.
Yeah. Well, especially because, like I was saying, with your technique, with you having too much brake and turning it off, you're going to struggle to rotate the car, so you're going to have to really slow down more to get the turn in there. And also, if you're turning in early, you're compromising your line for the next corner. Here, I think the best drivers, they turn in late and wide. They take a sort of late apex on the first corner, get on the power as early as they can, and do their best to run flat out over that next curb and down the straight. And you can really cut that curb there, because that curb, it's not the white line that's the curb. It's literally the curb that's the track limits.
That makes sense. It's it is interesting to know, and I'm sure you guys talked about it earlier as well. Speaking of track limits, just how much you can abuse a lot of them here.
Yes, exactly, and it's really about putting in the practice, learning them, and it's hard because some track limits, they're the white line. Other track limits is the outside edge of the curb. I mean, right here, first on the right here, it's the curb. Like, you can really cut that whole corner, but then the exit is the white line. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
so it's, you're going, oh, well, what is it? So yeah, end of quali there. You got Philo's put in a rapid lap. Arctic's the best of the rest, and but Arctic's very close. I mean, 2/3, 2/10 off it.
Yeah, Arctic is very close. I do wonder. Go on. Actually, go on. Before I interrupt.
And 5/10 ahead of Moose, who's in equal machinery, as Nico Rosberg would say. And Philo again making me happy I'm not racing this weekend. I said to him, if you turn up in another car, don't embarrass me.
Yeah, I don't want to be seen in the same car.
Yeah, he's embarrassing Moose for me this weekend, so thank you, Philo.
Better Moose than you. Those Philo and Arctic times are insane, Tony says. Yeah, I mean, that's nuts. Arctic has turned up in the Renault, and I remember him saying that maybe the Renault might just be the worst of the rest as far as tire wear goes. Like, clearly the car's got pace and he's got pace, but as far as tire wear goes, I hear the Renault is not up to par with the others.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been asking people about what their strategies are going to be, and I'm going to keep it a bit close to my chest if people are listening before the race. I don't want to out anyone. But it's definitely going to be a battle for that car, because, like you said, it's renowned for having pace, but high deg, and it's really going to be whether you can keep the soft going. I'm sure that I'd imagine he start on mediums. I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind betting he'd try and do sort of either medium soft or medium soft or medium soft medium, a combination of those. It really depends on how the track progresses. Is it too hot as the race goes on? We're starting in the morning, I believe, but sometimes the game doesn't quite set up the timing right, and it might be you start on mediums, you do your soft run, and then you go, oh look, the time's not changing. It's way too hot. I'm not getting the laps out of the soft I had in practice when I was practicing in the correct conditions. And before you know it, you go, okay, I'm on the fly, you're going to have to choose medium. So I feel like a few of these guys are going to be they're going to change it on the fly. I'm pretty sure Philo will try and do medium soft. That's what I would do in that car.
Right.
I imagine Moose will be doing the same. I imagine most of the field, that was what won the race last week, even though last week, had some dead tires doing it. But it just goes to show how powerful that combination is, that I could run it 3 to 4 laps with a completely front left and still finish ahead. So Strat definitely is going to play a big impact with these higher modifiers.
Okay, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, like, exactly what you said. And I think Also, if we have any teammates that are able to help each other out, do we think we'll see any sort of play with that?
For me, I'd like to say yes, but the way we've set up teammates, we've set it up so it's almost more of a mentorship thing. So, like, I think a lot of the helping each other out, it comes before the race. It comes in, you help them with strategy, you help them with setup. Every week I will send Crispy a setup, a strategy. I'll give him the exact laps I'm pitting on, exactly what tire it is, exactly how much fuel to put in, and then, tell him how to adjust on the fly. So I think that's where a lot of the help goes. Some of these mid-running teams where you have fairly equal driver pairings, maybe you're going to see it more there. And you might see maybe one of them moves out of the way for the other. Delps has put in a quick lap time there. We'll see. He's the best after the front four, so he's just made his way in the top five. After what I'm sure for him was a disappointing previous race, but he's got an A+ rated driver behind him. He's gonna be quick. And Carlton's quick too, and their teammates, and their lap times aren't too different.
That's true. True.
I don't think Shino's going to be backing up Marino or Specs into Carlton. Maybe.
I'd be shocked.
Maybe he's doing that. But he could do that. He's in the position and the paces there where he could be. He's going to want to attack Delps. He's going to want to get in the top 5, and then he's going to want to see if anyone ahead of him makes a mistake.
Yeah.
So.
Pato saying he's pulling for the new guy in the vet. USA. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's the only Freedom car on the grid. I believe so. Urso's qualified 11th in the vet. Our other commentator, Ryan, Civ Gaming, in the Porsche with the 132.
He's done good, hasn't he?
That's a good job. Solid job.
If he can keep on Carlton's tail, I mean, he's just got to keep it cool, capitalize on anyone making mistakes. It's an hour-long race. It's so easy to get in your head. It's so easy to have a bad start and just keep going backwards because you can't focus, you can't concentrate, you're a bit tilted. And these guys have just got to, not let that happen. Demon there's also not done as good as he usually does, and Purple, and they're teammates with two of the top guys, with Tony and Moose respectively. So they're not going to be helping the guys at the front. The only way they can really help, if they're not able to find the pace, is maybe under blue flags. Just really get off the throttle. Yeah. We saw some people were impeded last race, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. But it can happen, or it's not even impeding; it's just giving someone a slipstream.
Right. It'll be interesting to see how some of the new drivers get along, and also, like you said, maybe some of the guys who are usually a bit faster, Demon and Purple, are, in my mind, if they're able to make their way through, it could be a difference in strategy, etc. So we'll see. I mean, hopefully, I'm sure Demon especially is really looking to get back up there and be fighting with. Well, Steezy's not here, I guess, this weekend, but I feel like usually we remember seeing Demon all out with like Marino. I'm sure, and Demon's could be right up there with like Carlton and Specs. Just maybe didn't get a great lap in. I know how that feels, but I think we all do.
We missed Steezy's comment there. Sorry to go on a tangent. He said, "Imagine spending hella money on VR and sim rigs just to get cooked by some dude on a PS4 controller."
Not even just some dude, but two dudes in front leading the pack.
Yeah, and not only that, we know I've seen Philo. He's running a racing line on chase camera, and but we see pros who run with chase camera. So
yep.
Philo's all about extracting every last bit of performance, and here we go. The race is starting. So
here we go.
I'll let you do the lights out.
Oh boy, here we go. Gr.3 series off at Interlagos in Brazil. It's gonna be an exciting one today. We have quite the grid. It's fully packed, which is actually very exciting as well. The lights come up. Phil is gonna look to get away and run away. Arctic's gonna be looking to hide his tail. The lights are out. Here we go. Looks like Phil is going off. He's gonna be on the outside line. Arctic's on the inside, but Arctic looks to pull in right behind Phil. He's not gonna look to fight just yet. Certainly, barely has the pace getting off the grid start. Phil, I imagine, is gonna just try to run away, and that's something that we've seen before. We've seen Arctic do exactly the same behind him, and hopefully We don't see just the 2-horse race off in front, while the rest are falling in behind. Looks like Tony Cal is taking 3rd, Mooseman's in 4th, Shino up to 5th, and Carlton up to 6th. Ersto up to 7th. Wow.
Well, yeah, it's hard not to see Philo running away, but then I think most excitement is going to be further down in the pack. There's some cars who are very close together, and 5th to 7th here. They're very close, aren't they? And Ersto, I think he's outdriving the performance of that car. He's being bullied there, but he has to learn the drivers around him. This is his first race here in the series. He doesn't know how aggressive different drivers are, and he's got to learn that. And looks like Specs has got a penalty there.
Specs with the penalty. It looks like we also have 2 drivers kind of off in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what's going on. Let's see who those guys are. Looks like Delps may have had an incident, and
someone never made it through the second corner.
Yeah, then that's, that's
I was going to say,
way back there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where Delps went.
Wow. Well, we're going to have to review that for sure, because I don't know if that was a mistake or an incident or what. But we'll have to keep our eyes on that.
Moose is pulling on Tony here. So let's see. I think he's going to go for it. Yeah. We'll just see here if Moose hasn't compromised his line too much, and Tony can battle back on the next turn.
He's got a nice long straight to pull alongside him. I'm sure he's nice
a bit
and close.
Quicker there on the exit, I think. But I think he'll send it. No, it's a really hard corner there, because the braking point when you're following a car that close is almost blind. It's that little strip of asphalt on the right, and he did really good there to brake, and not brake so early that he lost time on him.
No, that was, I wonder if clearly the pace difference. I mean, Arctic was a half second ahead of Moose in qualifying. I wonder, Tony may just be thinking, let's not fight just yet. Let's see if we can, catch up to the guys ahead. And
and the more they fight, the more they can burn their tires, and they know that they're going to be beating Arctic as much on strategy as they are on pace. So, yeah, they don't want to jeopardize their pace, but they especially don't want to jeopardize their tire deck. I wonder if you wouldn't mind having the overlay on so we can see what tires everyone's running on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe it's mediums, but
absolutely. Let's see here. Well, we need everything on. Sorry, guys.
Yep, that's okay. So yeah, we got mediums on Tony. I'd imagine Moose is the same.
Moose also mediums. Yep. And Arctic medium. There we go. Arctic mediums as well. And I imagine Phil's could be running mediums. Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe some softs further back in the grid to see if we can get a start. We see Ersto and Shino fighting a bit here. Man, that's looking good. I'm so happy to see it on track.
Yeah, I remember driving it. I really liked it. I tested it before the season as a possibility. I mean, if it was a little bit more competitive, I definitely would have taken it, because it gives you a bit of a smile. And like the Mercedes, it sounds great. They're probably the 2 best sounding cars on the grid.
I have to agree.
Listen to that. I'm going to turn it up.
Yeah, if we jump in here. Where's Ersto 6th?
Yeah, you hear that?
Something American V8 power, baby.
There's no other car on the grid. I'm gonna shut up so you guys can hear it.
Ugh.
Isn't that angry? Like, no other car on the grid's that angry. I don't
love that.
Yeah.
So notably, these guys are. I was just gonna say real quick. Demon has he's taken advantage of the fact that Purple and Delps are falling behind. It looks like we have a third driver doing a bit of a spin behind them all, and it's not gonna be.
Is that Shino there? He also went a bit wide there. Yeah. Someone spammed me, so I didn't see on the track map.
Let's see. Looks like we're. Geez. I think we're down a driver now too.
I mean, gosh, Philo's in the 130s, and he's. I think is that Purple's gone. I can't see Purple. Philo's in the 130s here, and he's on mediums. I don't think anyone other than Arctic beat that time on softs in qualifying on low fuel. Yeah,
and and we're full fuel. We're 4 laps in. Sorry, we're in the 4th lap rather. That's wild. That is some quick. Well, now Fuel did say something earlier. Tony Cal mentioned in Discord, like what a wild lap from Fuel for qualifying, and Fuel goes, to be fair, it's the GTR.
And Moose said, I'm in the GTR. And like I said, I mean, there's a part of me that's happy I'm not being embarrassed. There's another part of me that would love to see where I slot in between the two, or if I'm slower. Moose was a bit quicker than me at Barcelona. I hate that track. I'm always a bit quicker here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd be ahead or behind. Who knows? But I definitely wouldn't have the pace of Philo.
No, that Philo is just at another level, which which is also why he's kind of in the position he is, right, in amongst our league. Like, hey, if we have room, you're more than welcome to, but like, it's not really affecting the Arrow Championship because I mean, otherwise, I feel like our grid this season notably has gotten much tighter. I think a lot of people did some work over the break, and everyone's improved a bit.
Yeah, and we were watching the Gr.86 race, and there was a part of me that wanted to go, oh, maybe we've all just improved a lot, and that's why we're so close to Philo's times. And, maybe it's really a sign we're improving, and then we jump into this, and Philo shows up and is Philo, and it looks like last season. And it's hard to... I'm sure we have all improved a bit. I'm sure Philo's also improved, but, don't forget, this is also Philo. He knows the game inside out. He's put countless hours into getting everything right with the setups, tuning, and how to drive them, how to use the inputs, all the inputs, steering angle, braking, throttle, everything, and it shows.
Yeah, absolutely. And slowly everyone else gets there over time, right? But when you have years and years and years of it, it's just it's second nature to you, right?
Yeah, and it's just learning what the optimals are and then practicing them as good habits, and it's probably the best approach.
Yep.
And a lot of it's like knowledge base, he's got a big knowledge base, and it's just good that we have him here and we can he shares some of that with us, so it lifts everyone up, I think, and it's amazing seeing how close Arctic is.
Yeah, it's scary to see how close Arctic is, but it's all good, like I said, to be able to share that knowledge. It's always important, and it's nice to see this train we've got going on really from sixth position back. Urso notably on the softs, so we'll be pitting sooner.
I was just going to ask if you checked what tires Shino and Marino are on around him, because so they're medium, so that might explain the Corvette's pace.
Yeah, but Demon's also on softs.
Demon is, and we know Demon had a poor qualifying. Let's see, is Marino on? I think Marino will be on mediums.
Marino will be on mediums.
I think I told him to go on mediums, actually. I said, you have the best deg on the grid, do medium, soft, because the benefit of starting on mediums is that your tires are at the optimal temperature. If you ever use a Race Dash app, you'll see the tires when you're starting from the grid or from a rolling start, perfect temperature. When you pit, they're 10 degrees cooler. They're outside of the window by 10 degrees. Now let's say you pit on this track, you come out of that main straight on mediums that are 10 degrees too cold. You're getting them cooler the whole way down the straight. You get to that first corner, you know how slippery the Astro is on the outside. You know how easy it is to get your braking wrong. You're used to braking on softs. You brake there, you run wide, you get dirty tires, you can lose the car. Even if you don't lose the car, you're doing the whole of Sector 2 on dirty tires, and you're going to lose 5 seconds.
It's a lot of time to be lost, yeah.
Yeah, you can lose 5 seconds, and those soft tires, even though they're cooler, they just switch on so much quicker, and you have a bit more grip, and you're less likely to make a mistake. And that's also a discipline thing for these guys. If anyone's doing a strategy where they're going to have to put another medium tire on, or especially for the guys starting on softs, it's going to be interesting watching them come out the pits and trying to do that turn, and it takes a lot of discipline to take it easy, to not push.
Yeah, it's a whole nother mindset to be in. That if I say, fortunately for me in the Gr.86, I didn't have to worry about. I just, it was for me, a lot of the race was hot lap after hot lap after hot lap. I didn't have to worry about where or anything else. My brother, on the other hand, if we jump back, he's kind of in the same situation at the moment where I was last race, in no man's land. But he does have to worry about fuel and tire wear. Looks like he started on the mediums, which I think was a good idea for where he was at. And
he's got even balance front to rear, which is good,
Yeah. And this track, I think the Porsche is relatively good on the tires as well, from my knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of rotation. I mean, you see the rotation there, the rear's stepping out, so you can lose the rears a lot. I'm not sure what brake balance he's using, but yeah, I mean, the Porsche, in many ways, is a tricky car to drive because you have to be a bit you know, there's a thing. In iRacing, it's the case. I'm not so sure here on GT7. I haven't really driven it enough, but this is a car you do your rotation under braking, not under throttle.
Okay.
So you really, you know, it's got the rear engine, a lot of weight in the rear. You rotate the car with the brakes, and it means you have to be delicate with the brakes. It can require a bit of skill, especially when you have a setup on it. When, you know, with the stock setups, they do induce understeer on purpose, so it can be, you know, like a popular choice even for beginners. But I think if you're trying to really maximize its performance, you get a lot of rotation in the rear, and that takes a lot of skill to master.
Yeah, I can only imagine, especially in changing between those cars. Like I know Ryan and I tend to do. You know, we're not on a team. We don't have a manufacturer realistically, so I tend to just swap around cars. It takes getting used to one, let alone the others. So
That's a really good point.
You know, I'm sure if I were to jump into the Porsche, I think I've been driving the Renault for the most part, and it's completely different than another car. So.
Yeah, and you know, unfortunately, MR cars at the moment, or I guess this is an RR car, rear car, but they're not quite as powerful as the front engine cars, unfortunately. And I know there's been some videos about that. You know, it's a problem with the BOP. You know, you can always gone a bit wide there. You can fix that a bit with tuning, but and we see there Ursto's front right's completely dead.
I was just wondering. I was just wondering how how Civ has caught up to Ursto so quickly. That tire is dead.
And look, Ryan's tires are just so much better, and he's going to probably take him through here. Ursto's probably going to run a bit squirrely there.
It's squirrely.
And especially if it's the front right that's gone, those left-handers, they're really tricky, and we're going to surely see him pit this lap.
There he goes. Yep.
And I believe it was supposed to start in the morning, right?
Yeah, it was a morning, and
this isn't morning conditions, I don't think.
Let's see. This was. Oh no, I'm sorry. This was afternoon. The Gr.3 was sunrise.
Changed?
Yeah, the manufacturer series was afternoon. So this should end in the evening. It should be dark out.
Okay. Well, then the medium soft should work. We can see the position of the sun there. The shot we get on the first corner, you can see the position of the sun. We'll be tracking that because 1 hour in game is about 6 hours. So we'll see that sun, and you know, some drivers want to be really nerdy or sweaty. They're going to be looking for where the sun is, especially the VR drivers. It's a bit easier to do. And you can just see, is the sun moving? Are the shadows on the track moving? You can use the shadows almost as a sundial.
That's that's a smart idea. Very smart idea.
Yeah, and then you know, hey, my strategy is going to work. I don't have to run two mediums. But we'll see. We'll see how many people are thinking of that. They might not be thinking of that.
Yeah, I think it's something and it's something that I know. Like, I don't know if he's thinking about it right now, but Civ always talks about, you know, how the track gets warmer and or colder depending on the time frame of the race. Always is talking about tire temps. Whether it matters or not, sometimes I think like with the MX-5 series last season, he started talking about it a lot. But when there's no tire wear, I don't know if the game takes that into consideration or not.
Well, on a tire temp app, your temps will be a bit different, and you'll have a bit more or a bit less grip. So it will take it into account insofar as your lap times will be quicker or slower. But it's not going to affect wear rates, of course. But it might affect the build-up of temperature, say in Sector 2. You go through, you know, you have a couple fairly high-speed, high-energy corners. It's really the high-energy, high-speed, long, sharp corners where you build up a lot of temperature in the tires. If the track's hotter, you're going to be building up more temperature. You're in a powerful car, you might lose the rear by the end of the sector if you're not careful. You're going to have to be a bit more careful on the throttle.
Right.
And these are things people maybe don't really notice when they're racing, but if you lose the rear on a corner, you probably notice in the next one your rear is a bit loose too, just because your temps are higher.
Yep. You just spiked it on that one.
Yeah, and the same thing, especially true in Formula One when you have so much energy going through the tires. You really, you see those heat cams, they build the heat up. You go through
Right.
those long, fast corners, and the heat really builds. And it can be really hard to get rid of. It's why sometimes you see a car pressuring another from behind, and they're just trying to cook their tires to get past. Oh, and Tony's past Arctic.
Tony's past Arctic.
They has Arctic pitted onto softs?
No, he's still on his
No?
mediums, and
So Arctic must have had a mistake there somewhere.
he must have, because Moose is now up to second. I'm scared to see this gap between Moose and Fila, but we're about to check 10 seconds, almost 11 seconds.
I always fear when I see a car so close in that last corner as Arctic was behind Tony. It's so easy to miss your braking point. It's that little asphalt strip on the right, and it's so easy to bump the guy and send him wide. And then, they're all good sportsmen. They're gonna ruin their own race because he'll back off and he'll let Tony back through. But you've lost 5 seconds,
Right.
and the whole next sector on dirty tires.
I will say also, we saw a great move earlier from Demon. Now, notably, he is on soft tires, but he passed specs earlier about a lap ago, coming down to, turn 4. And he did a great job at stopping the car early enough and was able to slip in on the inside of turn 4. So we are seeing some action on track, but notably everyone seems to have fallen in line for the most part.
Well, yeah, and P is at 9 to about 5. They're very bunched up, and Delps is gaining on Ryan. He's made about maybe just under a second a lap, so he's going to be pressuring him, and maybe, I don't know, maybe close to the pit window.
He may be,
yeah. Delps' rear right's going, and you see they're both in the Porsche right. Maybe now the rear's going a little more on the right. They're fairly close, though.
They're very close. Yeah, if anything, it looks like
Delps is doing a bit better on the tires.
Yeah. I'm sorry for all the swaps back and forth.
Well, so that's Ryan's in the pits, Philo's in the pits, making his first stop now.
Interesting.
And he's swapping to softs, and he's put 91 liters, so he's not fully fueling.
He's just gonna run those he's gonna run out fuel and tire at the same time, ideally.
Well, it's very early for pitting from the medium, so he might see how much pace he has. He might be doing three stints on the subs or something. I don't even know. I'm very surprised he pit that early, though.
Well, maybe he's doing his own testing.
That's very odd. I thought it said lap 12. No, it says lap 11.
Oh, let's go. We are behind a lap with Crispy. Now he's on lap 12.
Okay, here we are.
Steezy is in chat asking who Delp's new teammate is. It's someone that he knows, I guess. This guy Flipper. He yeah, we're on track with him now. I don't really have much to say.
He's had enough because he's got heavy damage on the whole of his front suspension, and he might want to think about pitting early because you're just losing time. He's about to get lapped here, I think.
Oh yeah, and he's off. Yeah.
Oh no, who is it? He's already been lapped by Ersto, so he's been lapped by almost the whole field.
Wow, that's and I think he just quit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I have to say that might be for the best if he was out of control because he said what the WTF Crispy, so
I think that was from an earlier incident, so maybe that's why they had damage, because Crispy also had front end damage as well. So we'll have to check that out. We have a few things to check out.
Yeah, we'll have to see on
post
the replay,
stream.
Right?
So Moose is now leading the race since Fuel has pit. Well, I guess because Fuel doesn't get it, he's on championship. Moose is leading the race for sure.
Yeah, Tony's keeping a good gap, isn't he?
He is, and you know what? Their tire wear is about almost identical, and as is their fuel. If anything, it looks like the Mercedes maybe just a bit worse for wear on both.
Yeah, and Arctic again making another mistake there, picking up a penalty, and he can't afford to do that. He's got the pace to win. And the degradation, it's worse, but how much worse is that rear right? It is a bit worse. So.
It is a bit worse, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a few laps earlier that he'd have to pay, right?
Yeah, and it might also be him just pushing a bit too hard with that. Pushing his rears a bit too hard, being impatient, getting on the throttle too early.
This car, in my opinion, it seems like this is the kind of car where you really don't want to be. Well, I mean, like he might be pushing them a bit too hard. You can't. This car seems happiest when it's pointing in the right direction first, out of a corner. Like you're not rotating it on throttle as much. In my experience, I don't know how you feel.
I haven't driven it much, but it's probably a bit similar to the Porsche in that regard. I don't know. I mean, it's a mid-engine car, right?
Yep.
The Renault.
Yeah.
So it's probably not as extreme as a Porsche, but you know, either way, maybe he should be minimizing the rear wear here. I don't know how far forward his brake balance is. I'd probably have it very far forward if this was how my tires are looking.
At this point, yeah.
I mean, I think what we're seeing here is Ardic's not going to be able to pull off a medium soft strap.
No, probably not.
And it's really going to be whether once the temps go down, he can run two 15 lappers and then a 10 lapper on the softs at the end.
That might do it, yep.
And but Tony and Moose, I think they might make it to 18 laps. Oh, Arctic's in early, so
Arctic's in very early. We'll see what he
I
comes
would
out
maybe
to.
say, part of me feels he pit a lap too soon there, but we'll see.
Let's see.
He's got to fuel less though, so he's going to save a bit because we've got a slow refuel time.
That's true too. Let's jump on board.
So here says in the chat, Marvin got completely effed over by Crispy. Crispy ran into him at least 9 times, spinning Marvin out a lot, so that's why his race was over. And I got completely effed in turn 1. I'm not sure who Lux Racing is.
That is Delps.
Oh, Delps, get out the chat and focus on driving.
This is the classic Delps move. He's always in chat.
I know. Delps, it will be looked into after the race, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Promise you that.
Get those replays ready.
And but Delps, I wouldn't listen to the stream if I were you. It's distracting. I can't do it.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
I do it at pit stops. At pit stops, I always turn the stream on because in VR you don't see plus or minuses and like kind of get a bearing of where everyone is.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's called voice activation, mate.
Yeah, but also I always clear my lenses on the VR. Every pit stop, lenses off, clear the lenses, open the stream.
That might be the one benefit of having these long pit stops, huh?
Yeah, no, I really have enough time. And Philo's put in a 30.7. I'm not sure what tire he's on, but I'm sure it's medium if that was his strategy.
Softs?
Maybe softs. So he might just be doing the three stopper with the softs.
He may be. Look how here he goes. Marino, notably, though, is doing very well, I think, for himself. Marino.
And it's gotten dark very quick, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to be dark for more than half this race, it looks like.
That's very quick. He's getting very quick here. And I think we're getting to his 3rd lap after the pits. Usually 3rd, 4th lap tend to be the best on a new fresh pair of tires, I think. So
Steezy's saying, my God, those tires on the McLaren. Absolutely wild how long they're lasting.
Yeah, and we've heard they have the best dig out of anyone. So Marino's surely going to do the medium soft.
Yep. Yeah, Marino's going to run out of fuel before his tire goes out. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a no-brainer for him, really.
Yeah, I think that's smart. We see Ursto back in the pits? Maybe,
Yeah, he started on softs. He's pitting way too soon.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a learning curve for Ursto, where he's going to realize, like Delps, that strategy is like is an area to focus on for the next race. And you know, just there's so many cars running. Well, the problem is also there's not another Corvette on the grid, so he can't see someone getting the perfect strategy and then copying it.
That's very true.
He's just going to have to put the time in and do that in practice and make sure the times are right. But I think timing has accelerated a lot quicker than I was expecting. We're 20 minutes in. The sun's already set.
Yeah, it's going to be dark
that's bizarre. So
2/3 of the race will be in the dark, basically.
And maybe Philo noticed that, and maybe Philo is able to just run the rest on 2 sets of softs. I don't know. But these guys are going to be getting quicker and quicker, and And it's going to also be how comfortable they are driving when it's darker.
Yeah, the dark changes things completely. I mean, your breaking points and your references just basically go out the window. Even with the shadows changing, I noticed it last race how different it was as we see Sip. Oh, no, unfortunately going wide.
Commentators curse, we had the camera on him. You did the same. We swapped the camera to you, and you went off a few corners before there, and we went, oh no, gone long.
I must have felt it.
What a shame, because he was close to Shido there. And,
yeah.
And he's lost a few seconds to Delps, but he's doing good to stay ahead of Delps though.
Yeah.
You know, I said Delps was catching. He was 5 seconds behind, and I said he was catching almost a second a lap, and even with that mistake, he's only 4 seconds back.
He's doing a great job. We do see Delps. They're both on softs. Delps noticeably has much more. They're a few laps off as far as their pit stops go, but Ryan.
Moose is pitting. Just to say, sorry to interrupt.
And Tony Kale's pitting.
Moose and Tony. It'll be interesting seeing. I'm sure they'll both come out on softs. I think they wanted to run 18 laps on that tire. I think Tony is in between a medium soft and a medium, and I think this is Tony probably going now. Be interesting to see what tire he goes on, because he might stay on the mediums, because I think he's a bit more conservative with his tire choice. But we'll have to see.
He seems to have been in the past, yeah. And was it last race where he had an interesting tire choice that managed to get him? I forget. You did really well last race, but I think you played to the strengths of your car.
I just did the tire strat, and I think it worked out right. Oh. And I almost sabotage it, because I scrub. Oh, they're both on softs, but I scrubbed low fueling. So I just scrubbed the fronts too much. So I sabotaged my own tire strategy.
Right.
By too much entry speed on the corners and probably too much steering angle. And I'm still getting used to this wheel. The wheel's incredible, this Logitech G Pro, and you can feel everything through the front. But I thought what I was doing was sort of finding the edge of grip, but maybe that was not something I should be doing. Not basically hitting the point of understeer, where the steering wheel goes light. Maybe I was just pushing it too far with that.
See, that I would almost think the same thing though. Is you want to find just before the steering wheel goes light. But
yeah, like in iRacing. Well, iRacing doesn't do it, because in a real car, a lot of real cars, like these race cars, the steering wheel doesn't go light. Like the way the feedback works is the wheel gets heavier and heavier, and then it just stops getting heavier. And when it stops getting heavier, that's where you have the understeer.
I see. Okay.
So if you play iRacing, you don't get the light wheel when you understeer. So that is sort of a GT7 thing, and other games have it too. I think like Project Cars, Assetto Corsa. I think Assetto Corsa, maybe not ACC. I'm not too sure.
I wonder why that is. That's a decision to give players feedback that when they know that hey, you're understeering all of a sudden.
I think it's just a bit of a haptic feedback thing, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So let's see. I'm just taking note here. Moose is 4 seconds almost ahead of Tony Kale. Tony had a nice pass on Arctic, but again, I think that tire difference was a big play in that when into turn 4 just a lap ago, and may also be Arctic trying to save a bit. He's on basically brand new mediums. He's got just under 2/3 of a tank of fuel. So,
I mean, if I was Arctic, I think he's maybe made a blunder here, but because does this track go fully dark? I think this is the darkest it gets, isn't it? I don't know if it goes the whole way through night.
I don't think it goes all the way through night. I think this is the darkest it gets.
So it's going to be the coolest it gets too. So he's going to be running the softs or mediums on the same temperature anyway, track. So if I was him, I would have run those first set of mediums 1 lap longer, maybe even 2, to just run it on a dead tire, and then run a short stint and see how far he can take that short stint, and he might have been able to get it to the end on another short stint. And if not, he just swapped to mediums. So that's maybe somewhere where he could improve on his overall race time. But I could be wrong there. I mean, he's been practicing in this car. He knows this car better than me.
We'll have to see how it plays out for sure. I'm interested to see how that ends up going for him. I'm a bit surprised. I feel like I wouldn't. Well, with the additional tire deck on it, I guess I can see why he wanted to change right away. But
yeah, I mean, and the other thing is it's really hard because in practice, and he said to me, he didn't think he can make the tires last. And I know Specs is in the same car, isn't he? And
yes.
we can see what Specs was doing. I think Specs was more likely to run the medium soft, and it looks like he might be. Yeah, he's only just put the softs on.
Right.
Look, and I was told by Arctic that Specs was able to look after his tires a lot better. So you know, Arctic might just be extracting almost too much pace at the detriment of the tires, and maybe Specs has the optimal strategy, just not the pace to make the strategy come off. It looks like Delps has caught up with Brian there.
Yeah, we both saw the same thing.
Penalty, unfortunately.
Oh, he goes by.
No.
Catch the curse once again. My brother, I know the pain, man. I know the pain. He gets another half second, then he's got dirty tires.
Unfortunate. Yeah, it's just a horrible feeling. You get dirty tires, you're already on a penalty, you get another penalty even though you've lost time, you lose a position, and he's just got to do what I spoke to him about before the race, was like, when things like this happen, you've just got to try and almost be emotionless, not let it affect you, just keep going.
Yeah, and that's one of the hardest things to do though, right?
And his fuel's very low, so I don't know if he has another lap. He might just have to pit here, and you know, if I was him slowing down this much, I would pit now, because if he doesn't pit now on this lap, he's going to be losing time the whole way down the straight. You pit now, at least your time loss from that penalty is minimal.
I agree, and it looks like he is going to be entering the pits.
Yeah, he is.
I wonder if he'll be going on softs again, or what. We'll have to check him out once he exits. We'll see where our buddy Ersto's doing. He's back on mediums.
He started on mediums, didn't he?
Right, Civ?
Did he, or did he start on soft?
He was
hasn't run 20 laps on soft side.
No, he was on mediums.
Okay, so that's very strange to get that much dag to convert. You know, I think he maybe didn't fully refuel.
He definitely, no, he didn't.
Yeah, that first stop. So Philo's back in first. I think we missed him overtaking most of
Oh, yep. I'm not sure. Yeah, we must have missed him.
No, they pitted, didn't they? Because he's
yes.
I mean, God, he's 30 seconds ahead. We're halfway through.
Holy moly.
But I think he might have to do an extra stop. But look at those. Well, what is the difference in the sauce between Philo and Moose here? Mooses are pretty good. Philos are getting worn.
Very worn.
But you see that Philo's wear front and rear is very even. I'm not sure if Moose's is as even.
And we see him flashing his lights at Ersto. Get out of the way, sir.
Yeah, and hopefully Ersto does. I mean, this is Ersto's first race. Yeah, I mean, Philo just bumped him
out of the way, yeah.
And which is sort of fair enough, but also Ersto's first race, maybe we tell him afterwards, maybe get out the way a bit more, for the race leader at least.
Yeah. You know, that's something that I know we dealt with someone last time, that just every person that they impeded everyone that was lapping them every single time during the race, and they got the boot.
Yeah,
I think maybe Ersto was maybe just looking for a better place, because it's hard. You know, obviously you don't want to be giving up, going to the side for someone and ruining your own race. But ultimately, at the same time, we can check where he's at. He's in no man's land.
And it wasn't unsafe in the way that he was holding his normal line. You don't want to be unpredictable, and in a sector like that, when there are maybe what feels like a couple lines, you don't really want to be pulling over to the side and then going, oh no, he shot up the inside.
No. As Steezy says to stop showing around, you guys are cursing him. I just wanted to see where he was at. He fueled up halfway with brand new racing softs. Yep. So he's and this is the learning curve for him, much like with Urso, right?
He's done half a tank of fuel again.
Yep.
Which I think's too little.
I think so.
He's having to pit too many times. I think, didn't the other guys do 71 to 75?
Something like that, yeah.
And we know they're fuel savers, so there's no way, like Ryan's having to do a whole extra pit stop or two.
Right, because
maybe even a whole 2 extra. I don't know how many stops he'll do by the end, but
it'll be interesting to see though if it may be I don't know if he's thinking this, but in my head, he may be thinking, well, I know I'm rubbish when my tires are gone. So I'd rather use as much of the tires as I can and fuel before the tires are completely gone and just take another pit stop.
yeah, it could be.
You know, that may be his form of trying to learn exactly what he needs to be doing as well, but also like consistency for lack of pace.
But at the same time, just drive a little slower and cautiously. It's a lot quicker than, like, the pit stop here is what, 50 seconds or something, I think, the pit lane loss. It's crazy here. You have, because it's not until the end of the second corner, is it? And then you're coming out on the straight slow.
It's a very long stop, yeah.
Yeah, it's not ideal. So
we are back up with our train of I guess six through 8 or 9.
And I say also it's a bit of a practice thing. You know, if you don't practice on really worn tires, you won't get more confident with them, and you won't learn to drive them. So
that's a good point. That's a very good point. So let's see here, real quick. Delps is on this racing softs, quarter tank for about a quarter tank fuel. These guys are just gonna be running together. I wonder who's gonna pit first here. Let's see.
Well, Specs seems to be doing great on the tires, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
But Specs is already a pit stop ahead, I think, of Dubs.
I believe so.
I think Carlton's maybe a pit stop ahead, is he? Is he on fresh tires?
No, he's on used mediums.
Oh.
So he's on used mediums. He's gonna be losing pace. He
started on softs then, I presume.
Mm-hmm. He did, and he's gonna be, and he's just losing pace to the guys ahead right at the moment.
That was a very bad line he just took in that corner.
Yeah, that's rough.
He was gonna go wide. He turned in way too early.
And that's there's that penalty.
It's so unfair, isn't it? You lose time.
Oh.
I think I prefer the iRacing system where you have the delta and it tells you to give back X amount of time.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's way better than having to slow down at the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially it depends on each track where it's at. Sometimes they're like this penalty marker is brutal.
Maybe the worst
maybe one of the worst. Yeah. There's some that aren't as bad.
And you're
and the longest straight, basically, of the track.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember when weren't people getting 4 or 5 second penalties before in the MX-5 series, and we had to change it to light penalties?
Yes, yeah.
It just ruined the race.
It ruins the race. I mean, especially with those cars where, for the most part, we had close packs as well, and you lose 5 seconds, you lose 4.5 seconds. Just for your time penalty, let alone that probably turns into close to I reckon 8 or 9 seconds. By the end of it.
Or even more, because I think we did calculate it around 9 seconds, didn't we? Because the other problem is you go wide there, you get I think it was a 4.5 second penalty. You also get dirty tires for the whole rest of sector 2.
Yes.
And. Yeah.
When you need them the most, arguably. It's
exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's really bizarre. Yeah, because the flat out left-hander, you can't take flat out. Really on the dirty tire. I don't know. Well, maybe your tires are back by then. But yeah, for the hairpins.
Yeah, and that's when you want them the most. It's a bad system. Not the best. But Delps is getting a little. I don't know if that's, man, you see that? His rear right's dead. His rear right's dead, his front right's close to death.
I think that's what that is, because that's also a corner where you have to choose between second and third gear in a lot of cars. Second gear is technically quicker, but third gear is more stable.
Yeah.
Same here, you see, does he accelerate out in second gear? He does.
Ooh.
You're going to always lose the rear doing that. You want to accelerate out of there in third gear.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you can keep enough cornering speed, but those tires are dead, so he's going in.
It's going to have to be pitting. There we go.
He missed a gear shift there.
We jump back on with Specs, who's chasing Shino ahead.
Specs is having a good long race, I think. And also, Marino looks like he might be. Marino's up in fifth.
Marino, I think, is having a fantastic race. Yeah, I mean,
I mean, and he's done a pit stop, so Marino's best of the rest right now, isn't he? He's
Absolutely.
8 seconds ahead of. Yeah, he's a really good job from Marino. He's capitalized on Delps having the mishap at the start, whatever it was.
Yeah, and we see Filo is in the pits again. We'll see what he changes to. Yeah, Marino, man. I mean, he's cleaning up points today for sure. Steezy's gotta be happy with his teammate's performance today, and I mean, wild to see the gap between him and Arctic, 18 seconds. But Marino's in no man's land right now. He's racing himself for the most part.
Yeah, Marino's just got to keep it cool and just keep putting in the laps. And really, I think at this point, we know Shindo behind him is really quick. He's just got to make sure he keeps the gap as well as he can and just not make any mistakes. I mean, if Marino can do the rest of the race without going off track, without getting a penalty, he's probably staying in 5th. And Philo's just pit again. So unless Philo can do 14 laps on softs, which he might be able to. How many laps did he just do on the last softs? Did you mark down his first pit stop?
I did not. No, I didn't get to see what lap that was.
It was very early on. It was around lap 14 though, wasn't it? So he's done about 14 laps on the softs. He might just be going to the end on these. 13 laps, he can do 13 laps.
Oh, easily. We got the tire whisperer over here.
So Philo really has done the medium soft, and he's just short changed the mediums, and he's going to end up a minute ahead of the field, I think.
Yeah. At the end of this, once the rest of the pit stops unfold, yeah, I can see that happening. That's a mastercraft, I guess.
Wow. Yeah. And he's short fueled, and yeah. Well, there you go.
So let's see. He's catching Demon ahead of him. It looks like he had a penalty. Unfortunate for Demon. He'll be slowing down here. Fuel will be getting past. Demon is on his mediums. There are a few laps worn. He's got about a half tank of fuel. So honestly, that seems about on pace. I wonder if I imagine he'll be going softs for his next stop.
Demon. Yeah, I think he can. Yeah, he's gonna have to, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Demon's miscalculated the strat, whatever he's done.
Yeah, I don't think he anticipated having that rough of a quality.
He's got too much tires and too much fuel for this point in the race.
Mm-hmm.
So something's gone wrong with the strat somewhere.
Yeah, that's gonna end up Tony about to beat him after the race. I mean,
Tony sent this guy an essay because I read it, so I knew what their sort of strat was.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if he read the whole essay. I think I might be the only one who read it.
He may have gotten the what's the Cliff Notes version?
Yeah, the ChatGPT version that's completely hallucinating. I don't know.
We got your man's Crispy over here.
There's my guy, Serial Killer Crispy, bringing up the back. Already murdered one.
1 to 2 people potentially.
Yeah, and he's almost a minute off Demon. I'm not sure how that's happened.
Well, it looks like he's just pit as
2
well.
2 minutes 40 seconds off the. He's almost going to be getting lapped twice.
Yep, maybe 3 times by Phil.
Yeah.
We see Moose has entered the pits. Is Tony counting? Tony's going to stay out. Tony is dangerously low on fuel.
Oh, can Tony make this lap with that much fuel?
He's going to have to make it happen, I think.
Wish we could see how many liters they have. Also, look how many miles Tony's put on that car. 2,000.
2,000.
I wonder how much the others have. I bet Philo's car's got a lot of miles.
Philo, let's check out Philo over here. Oh, 3,000.
3,000. How many's Arctic got? Let me see.
1,200.
This guy's been practicing. I wonder about Moose.
Yeah, let's see Moose. We'll check him after he gets out of the pits. Who's someone? Shino. What about you, Shino? 1,000 as well.
1,000, yeah.
Happy to see.
And he's coming right up on specs. What are the tire differences? He's on used mediums and specs is on
used softs, but not nearly as used softs.
Yeah, I mean, we just say that he's quick coming up behind, and Marino's pitted, so Marino's gonna go to the end now.
Yep.
I think specs holds him up. It's Marino's race to finish 5th. It really is. He's just got to make sure he comes out the pits now and stay on track.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Now, is Tony going to make it to the pits?
So let's jump on board.
Oh, he's empty. Is he coasting? No, he's 150 miles an hour. He timed that to perfection, didn't he, with the fuel?
Wild. All right, so let's.
And that front red's dead. So I think Demon should look at Tony Strat there and see how he can imitate that.
Yeah.
Because you're giving up a lot of time that you don't need to give up. You don't need to be better on the brakes for it, really. You don't need to be better at really anything other than just copying a strategy.
No, you're absolutely right. It's and that's part of the great part, like you said earlier, about the way that we have these teams set up. It's kind of like a mentor and mentee. You know, that's just something that he look at the replay even too. Whether he looks at stream or he looks at the replay from the race, and he's able to copy exactly what he did. That was excellently.
See, they're coming out together here. Look at them, Moose and Tony. I think Moose is just a bit ahead now.
Moose is just
they were
ahead.
side by side in the pit lane for a second.
And Moose has almost 3,500 miles, but he did race this last season as well.
Yeah, and it's a car he's used in the dailies.
Yeah. But this is a good way to see who's been practicing or what.
I think I sold my GTR, and then the GTR I use now is the one from the film, the promo one that they just gave for free.
Oh, yes, that's a wise idea. So Ryan's back in the pits. We didn't get to see how used his tires were.
I think it was because of fuel. He only put 50.
Yep. He was down to nothing.
Marino just did 71. Tony's just done about 70 something.
And Arctic is in the pits for the last time.
He was on 1% fuel.
The promo one is lighter. That's interesting.
Really?
Very interesting.
I didn't know that. I thought they were identical.
So let's see.
You sure?
Yeah, so Specs will pit, and that'll put Marino up to fourth for the as far as our championship goes. That'll be some great points to be taking home. Shino, this will be they're done pitting unless there's anything disastrous. Delps won't be pitting anymore. They'll be finishing up on the mediums. Carlton will not be pitting anymore either. We know that Civ Gaming will definitely not be pitting. Looks like he fueled up a bit more as well. Probably around 65, 70.
Sorry, was there anyone in the top 10 left to pit, or is that's it?
That's it. We've got our last few.
Arctic and Specs coming out, so yeah, it's a sprint race now.
It's a sprint to the end. And unfortunately for Arctic, whether it was a strategy call or just the call on his tires.
Yeah, I really don't think he needed to do 2 sets of mediums. I think that alone cost him 10 seconds. I think. Yeah.
I think Tony has really got these strats down pat. It's multiple races that I've seen from him where he's really getting the most out of his tires and his fuel down to the last lap, and it's really incredible to see.
And also, I mean, the car he's in, I don't think that car's quite as quick as a GTR, so he has to do that. He has to get them perfect. It's still a very quick car. But
in comparison
great.
to
He's
the
only
GTR.
2 seconds off Moose. I mean, that's one. Moose runs wide, gets a second penalty. They're side by side.
Yeah. This will be a great finish for Tony if he's able to make up any time, or like you said, Moose makes a mistake. They'll be fighting side by side for sure. Marino, this will be a fantastic run for him. I mean, I'm very happy to see that for sure.
Marino at this point, driver of the day, I think. He's just been so consistent. I haven't seen him make a single mistake. We've never gone over his name, I don't think, and seen a penalty.
No, I don't think so either.
He's just like, he's really like, it's the best of the rest kind of thing, you know? He improved, I think, a lot over the course of last season, and then I think he put a lot of time in between seasons as well, and he's got a strong drive to get to improve, and he's doing it.
Yeah, it's really great to see, and even Specs. I think we said it last week. I'll say it again, as Shino and Specs are side by side going down to turn 4 here. Specs manages to hold on to 6th place, but I don't think for very long. I think Shino may have Specs' number.
It looks that way. We'll have to see. It's so easy to make a mistake and go off here.
See how they handle Sector 2 here.
See if he throws it on the inside here. Right? Keeping a wider line.
If we jump on board with a veteran or Shino real quick.
Oh, I thought that was going to happen there. He just hit him in the... I don't think either got damaged though.
No, I don't think... I think we're good.
Yeah, had to back out. They're both on softs, aren't they? Yeah.
Yep.
They are, yeah.
Yeah. So this will be a sprint to the end. It's nice to have a little bit of fighting going on. Oh, and we're trading places on the screen on the left, and Shino takes 6th from Specs. See if Specs has an answer coming down into turn 1. Though I don't think turn 1's not really a place that you want to be passing, because you can really.
I think he'll try.
He's gonna try to put something up the inside.
We'll see if he gets a better exit from turn 2.
Yeah. Let's see here. The time is coming down. He's getting pulled closer to Shino's rear end, but then he's not close enough to make a move happen. Specs, though, is someone who notably surprisingly has 100% race attendance this season so far. Notably, we've only had 2 races, right? But when he shows up, man, he always does well.
Yeah, he's always been a strong driver, and he's just got to, I guess, put more practice in, and he's got a really. I mean, they're probably the strongest driver pairing. The teammates Arctic and Specs, so
yeah,
they're in a. Oh, and Shindo's off, and I think that might be a bit hard to recover there.
I think so. I think Specs may get past him. There he goes.
He is, but he's going to have a worse last corner.
He may want to just tuck back in, yeah.
Not disappointing. And I think Specs, I don't know if Ardic's sending him hot laps, but, you know, Specs watches those. I know he's got the skill to get close to them, and he could be right up there.
Yeah, absolutely. He,
it's
think,
also,
yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say it's testament to how good a job Marino's doing, because normally that would be the position Specs is in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that also goes to show Shino, who's a newcomer. You know, they were here last weekend, but newcomer overall, and just to throw someone else up in that, I guess that driver skill area that, you know, Marino and Specs seem to be in, you know, goes to show that if Shino takes that position away from Specs, that's points that Specs and the French Revolution's losing out on. So it's good to see some more competition, and maybe that'll spark Specs to, you know, put some more time in if he's able to.
Shino's teammate's Carlton, I believe, and he's just behind them.
Yep. Yeah, looks like Philo. He just got lapped by Philo.
Blue flags, yep. Gosh, Philo's got to be pretty far ahead now.
Yeah, he's got to be, let's see here. Let's jump aboard with Philo, boy. 32 seconds.
31. So not as far ahead as he could have been, but that's very far ahead.
No. You know what's close, though? Tony has caught Mooseman.
But, well, how are they doing tires and fuel-wise? They're about the same, I think.
They're about the same. Let's see. That's Tony and, whoop, sorry. There's Moose. Tony, yeah, they're about the same.
I wonder how big a difference it made Philo pitting that much earlier and spending more time on the softs. He seemed to really be able to make them last. Yeah,
you know what, though, and I think he's not really pulled as big of a gap as I thought he was going to by this point in time in the race. Not that 30 seconds is anything to scoff at, but he may be managing those tires and his pace. If we look on board real quick as to his recent lap times, no, they're all consistent, so
Yeah, he got a fastest
He
lap.
put fastest lap in a few laps ago, so never mind.
But I think I got a bit confused with the timing there because it was when one of the pit stops happened, so I thought he was further ahead than he was. But he's still very far ahead.
Yeah, I think we had to see how the rest of this unfolded. But man, so if you're Tony, you know you've got a few laps left to go. These flashing boosts on. Do you think? I mean, you want to get the move done, but at the same time, do you just try to play it patiently and wait for Moose to make a mistake? Do you let the aura of Tony Cal take its effect?
Apply maximum pressure and just make sure you're nailing every single braking point in line and see what happens. I mean, don't go for a lunge unless it's on, but...
Right.
You know, as in don't go for a lunge there, you're going to murder him, but he's got a much earlier turn on, earlier on the power, and...
Speaking of good sounding cars again, like we said earlier, it's the Vet and then this Mercedes, but
yeah, it's really good. And there's a back marker coming up here, I think, so we'll see if that holds one up more than the other.
Is that looking like his silver Porsche? Might be that be the Civ Gaming?
Could be.
We'll find out in a few corners, I think. Yep, there he is. I was wondering how he was doing. Hey, top 10.
Yeah, and Tony's catching back up through that mid sector. Ooh, that was a bit wide. Yeah, that was pushing the limits of the track.
A little bit.
Because it can be quite hard getting back online when you pull off the curb there. So I imagine Ryan's just going to let him pass on the straight here.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't, though. I hope he gets in the fight.
Just make it interesting for the rest of us, huh?
Yeah, slow him down.
Let's see.
Oh, he's not pulled over, so...
Yeah,
he doesn't have to. He's far enough ahead.
Yeah, they're not close enough just yet. I think that's good on him, you know, be able to judge that. Maybe by the end of turn 4, but I don't even think they'll be close enough then.
Yeah, he definitely just doesn't want them right on his bumper through the middle of sector 2, so either probably the end of this straight coming up, I'd imagine, is where he'll let them pass. And
hopefully he lets both past. You would hate to let Moose past and then go through sector 2, and Tony's just stuck behind you.
Could see some favoritism, you never know. But Tony's not as quick through that sector 1, is he? He gains the speed back through sector 2, but sector 1, Moose seems to have the upper hand.
Yeah, he does. You're right.
And actually, it does go to show, though, that Ryan's being fairly fast, because, I mean, it took them a long time to pass him. Yeah,
actually, if we jump on board with him real quick and before we jump back to the fight, and Ryan's got, I mean, listen, he dumps ahead by 16 seconds, and he's got 22 seconds or 21 seconds between him and Ersto, so, yeah, Ryan's done a great job, it looks like, to, you know...
It's a 1:31.5, you know, lap 34 there from Moose is the same. So it's a pretty respectable time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're back on board with Moose and Tony, man, going back and forth. Lap 37, almost 38 starting right now.
Flash him and send it up the inside. He's going to send it. He's going to send it. Ugh. No, he's not. I thought he was.
Wow.
Oh, he was close. And he missed the curb there, but he's still carrying all the speed. I mean, they're on softs and they're not too worn.
No, and he's got...
Are they doing weaving?
Trying to break the toe. He's being a bit cheeky.
Moose's lines are good there. He's making his car very wide though.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go. We know Tony's quickest through sector 2. I mean, you remember I made a silly lunging move on the next corner on Moose. Not this corner, the one after before. I mean, you can do it.
Yes, yeah, you did. That was wild.
Because that corner is so wide, the exit. You can do it and stay on track. It's but Moose is taking a good defensive line again there.
Yeah, Moose making that GTR quite wide.
Oh, they're close. They're bumper to bumper. Tony's going to have a run on him until the last turn, but you don't really want to overtake until the last turn.
You just ruin your line and being able to open up early, right?
Yeah, see, the guy ahead can just do a switchback and just get a better exit.
Dopes is saying in chat, can someone please take away the grass? Also said I cannot do a thing with that damage. Absolutely ruining my race right now. I will have to check on the damage once, maybe after we get past turn 1. See where he's got that damage on.
We might have to stay on these guys for 2 laps.
I think so. We might have to.
Yeah.
Tony's been. I mean, Moose is playing great defensive, but Tony's also been a great job at being patient and not sending a lunge, or a dive bomb.
It's crazy. I mean, the skill required to be on someone's bumper with this pace for the whole last lap or so. I mean, and right there you see they're braking 1 or 2 meters different. And Tony's gone wide.
Yep, Tony went
He's
wide.
lost a couple tenths there.
But you just saw, how close they were, and then you're seeing Tony's point of view on stream.
Tony's quicker. I think Tony is quicker.
Yeah.
But Tony's burning his tires now, and Moose probably is too.
Yeah, if we jump on with Moose, we'll see.
Yeah, Moose's tires are better.
Yeah, but I think that also might be the GTR difference as well, just in general.
It is the GTR, yeah. The GTR is very good on tire. It's not McLaren, but it's for its pace, it's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of the best all round. It just doesn't have the best acceleration. That's the only thing it's not great at. Like the Genesis has a lot better acceleration.
Right.
Other than that, it's you can see it here a bit coming out of on the hill.
Left suspension is absolute to the moon, Delp says. That's pretty rough.
I mean, this is the last lap. He's gonna. I don't think he can send it here, but
he's gonna have to make a decision. Turn 4 maybe will be the best bet.
And that might have just been where Tony just going wide on that turn was the difference between him being able to send it there or not.
Yeah, I agree. Moose pulls to the left to break that toe. They were so close. Moose looks like he may have gotten a better exit out of that turn.
Yeah.
Let's
Moose
see.
is going to have to park it because...
Oh, Tony gets a bit out of shape.
The rear a bit, but
Yep.
he's still quick. I don't think he lost time doing that. And there's a back marker.
Let's see here. I wonder
Gosh, he's gonna have, if he keeps this close, he's gonna have the toe all the way over the line. I mean, Moose is gonna be blocking him if he wants to keep the win.
Yeah.
Or keep second. Ooh, bit oversteer. They both took slightly narrow lines in there, I think, but Tony's got a better drive here. And I think Tony's got the better acceleration coming out the last corner.
He does, yeah. He's gotten absolute nail in here, though.
He's got a really good last corner, Tony. And, I don't think Moose is close enough to get the slipstream. They're going to be close over the line, but I think Moose has got it.
I think Moose is going to get it, yeah. Tony just didn't have enough laps, I guess, behind opportunities to make that move stick. But we see the
oh, it's so close there.
Absolutely. There's the finish line. And
what an effort, though. I mean, that was special to watch.
Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant to watch, and great driving by both drivers. Arctic crosses the line. It says 4th, but realistically for a championship, it'll be 3rd. And Crispy crosses the line, 13th.
And that penalty kind of sums up Arctic's race a bit. Too many penalties and mistakes. I think he's clearly one of the fastest, if not the fastest, after Philo. And I think maybe the strategy wasn't optimal with the track temperatures, and maybe just a few too many penalties.
Yeah, I think so. And we're looking at the last fight. Specs and Shino side by side as we're kind of coming across
the door banging here.
A bit of door banging.
Look at him. Look at him flashing.
France v Germany. Specs takes 6th. Marino taking 5th, though.
Wow. Yeah, and Marino may be driver of the day. Honestly, that was a flawless drive from what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, Philo, great drive, but but yeah, absolutely fantastic job by.
Philo's gonna Philo.
Philo's gonna Philo for sure. 129.9 was his fastest lap, but our fastest lap, as far as the championship goes, it looks like Tony with the 130.4. Yeah. Well,
like we said at the end, I think Tony was quicker, and really he was quicker, but he wasn't quick enough to pass, and Moose made the car so wide, and Tony was incredibly respectful to not just send it up the inside of turn 1. And I think also Tony going wide on, is it turn 3, meant he couldn't send it up the inside on turn one, and it's when the margins are that close, it's tiny little things make all the difference.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the GTR is fast on the straights, as Tony says, but I think the acceleration's better on the coming out of the last corner. The GTR wasn't going as far ahead, but its top speed's good. I know the GTR is not as quick accelerating as the Genesis, but yeah, it's definitely quick on the straight.
So let's see. We did lose a couple drivers. We lost
Yeah.
Purple and Flipper. I know Purple was having wheel issues the past couple of weekends. So I don't know if that had anything to do with the scenario that happened at the beginning of the race. We'll have to check back on the replay to see exactly what happened there. Flipper, I don't really know. They just were nowhere and didn't stick it out. Crispy takes home 13th. Demon down in 12th. Just, I guess, not a great race for Demon. One to forget and move on to next week.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to take a lesson from his teammate on strategy, because from what we saw, the strategy really wasn't optimal. And if you're struggling from pace, strategies it's free lap time, it's free free race time that you're gaining. So I think he's definitely got to work on that. And Tony says there the Merc was an animal in the midfield, and that's what we were saying in that sector 2. Even it was losing time in sector 1 to Moose, it was catching right back up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just a shame about going slightly wide on that corner going into sector 2, because even though he caught it up, wasn't quite close enough to be side by side over the line, or close enough to throw it up the inside. And Moose did really great under pressure too.
Moose did fantastic. Notably, Ersto was great to see. It's I wonder if there's any sort of setup changes that can be done on that Corvette. Obviously, like you said earlier, we don't have anyone else on that Corvette, so it's hard to tell. We have the comparison against, but
yeah, I don't know. I tested it, and Philo told me don't even bother. It's an uphill battle. You'll be tying your shoelaces together basically, and which is a shame, because it was the best sounding car. I mean, we listened to it so angry, and it's a shame. But it's great to see him driving it. He's happy to drive it. He's happy to drive it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, it's the same thing as Pato. If Pato ever makes an appearance in the manufacturer series, he'll be driving his Viper just because he loves the car. And
yeah,
notably,
exactly.
Urso has pace in practice, at least from what I saw. Urso is a quick driver. It could be a strategy / car / setup thing, and we'll definitely be looking forward to seeing more from them as this season goes on.
Definitely, and he's learning how the people around him race, and it's a learning curve to know who's aggressive, who isn't, and how close you can be to people, how big of a margin you need to leave. I mean, we saw Moose and Tony, very little margin. It was incredible. They're bumper to bumper. They're braking within a meter or two of each other, and I mean, there's very few drivers where you can have that kind of trust together, and also know they're not just going to do something stupid or force you off the track. And so that's great to see. And Specs in the comments, he said, yeah, we did catch that.
We caught the last couple of turns. Yeah, it was the mad dash to the finish line was great to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, some great racing. Both in the Gr.86 was a lot of fun, and great to see the Manu Series today. Winters, you phenomenal job once again, and I know you're traveling, so even better to be able to have you.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it. I always enjoy it, and I hope I can share stuff. Hopefully, none of it makes my competitors quicker. But
well, I think everyone enjoys the different point of view that you can offer. So yeah, happy to have it. Specs, happy to have you as well, my boy. So we'll be back next week with race number 4, right? Technically, I guess. Well, it's technically race 3 because race number 1 didn't happen. But anyway, we'll be at the Red Bull Ring in Austria, which one of my favorite tracks. What do you think? How do you feel about Red Bull Ring?
Red Bull Ring's great. We know we can all race closely there too. I think it's sometimes people feel it's boring, but it is also a favorite. It's just a track people are quick at, people's pace is close, and it's going to be again about who's consistent with those track limits in the final sector.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the hard part.
The whole track, really. Yeah, so it's going to be a battle of nerves, a battle of, and we'll see strategy. I don't think anyone's run strategy yet.
No,
So
we'll see how that evolves over the week.
yeah, and I'm enjoying these new tire multipliers. I think that was a good choice, a good change. It seems to make really the sure, it hasn't brought the hards into play, but I don't really care that much. I'd rather have it between mediums and softs than mediums and hards.
Yeah.
Or even hards and softs. I kind of prefer it that way. Maybe there'll be a race where they work, but I think it being every race seems to be like it will be a medium soft or a medium soft, and it's about the time of the day. It's about looking for the shadows on the track, seeing if the sun's actually moving at the speed it should be. And knowing if you can really draw it out, because I think Arctic there, he could have probably done the medium soft, given how the track developed, and like Specs did, and Specs finishes 6th with it. And yeah, Arctic I think could have been up in that fight with Moose and Tony.
Right. It's just a matter of strategy calls and hopefully no penalties, as we're seeing.
Yeah. I mean that was I think the story of the race there a bit too. Arctic, I do think I remember though in the MX5 series he got quite a few penalties at Interlagos, so it could be a bit of an Achilles heel. I mean, I know Tony says it's not his favorite track, but he's done a great job here. So whether you love or hate a track, you just got to do your best either way.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess with that, we'll see everyone else next weekend again at Red Bull Ring, and you'll be racing next weekend, right?
I'm gonna try my best. It's my dad's birthday. I think I might be back on the PS4 for that one, but I need to figure that one out.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Well, at the very least, I know that we'll have the twins in the commentators booth again. But anyway, everyone have a great evening or day, depending on where you're at. Winters, have a wonderful evening, and we will see you all next weekend.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed that, and see you next time, everyone.
See you later.